Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Alex, the Comic Quarter. Thank you so much for clicking play on this video. I've got today with me again, Tim, Large Man's Life on Instagram. Make sure you guys follow him. I think he said you'll be posting some comic related.
Yeah, I
stuff.
haven't. I really haven't. I've been kind of a closet comic book fan, and so I need to start putting some of that stuff out there because I think I have some interesting stuff. But it's always good to get the conversation going.
This may force, this may force you to come out to your friends that you are as nerdy as me.
Hugely,
Yeah,
hugely.
very much so. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to show you our top 10, and it might actually be the top 11 books in this Silver Age collection. We're not going to hold anything back from you guys, so hopefully you guys are excited. Here we go. All right, so the way that this video is going to work is we're going to show one book at a time, and honestly, Tim and I were just talking that there are some books in another pile over here. There's a short box. There's tables full of comics over there as well that we think once we grade and price these books, some of them will actually be more valuable than our top 10. So some of the books that we're going to show you right now could potentially be trumped, but we wanted to make sure that we started the process of ranking and evaluating, pricing, and grading these books.
We tried to be largely as picky as possible when we were looking through the books, just to make sure that from a grading standpoint, when we're valuing it, as far as when we're looking at a draft, that we're giving it a fair assessment. So as we went through, there were a couple books we may talk about that we kicked out because either they were just in really poor shape or were worse than we thought. So it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Tell them what the first book is that we actually booted out of the top 50. It was a huge surprise to me because that was literally one of the books that you're probably going to pick top 2.
Yeah, the book was Avengers 2. We thought when we looked at it when we first got it out, we first found it from the cover standpoint, everything looked okay, right? It was kind of beat up. We knew that. We thought it was going to be low grade, but then as we started flipping through it, pages were detached. I think there was maybe some like a big tear in the back cover.
Yeah,
There was
like cover reinforcement on the back too, like a big strip of something on the back too that was like holding the spine together. I don't know like if they're trying to bind the book, like make it a collected edition of some sort, but it was wrecked and it was very disappointing because that was one of the books that you and I both had our eye on as far as like wanting for our own personal collections, and I don't think either of us we'll take it probably, but
I've got a 1.8 in Avengers
Yeah.
2. That one wouldn't have beat that.
yeah, that's unfortunate. It's definitely like a 0.5.
Yeah.
At the most. Even nice as presenting as it is,
Yeah.
it's just not worth even considering in the top 50.
No.
I don't even think.
No chance.
Let's start off right away, straight away. So what we used is Go Collect, and we evaluated these books based on their eBay sold. We also looked at different ranges because they provide pictures, which is really nice. Go Collect, it's an awesome website to subscribe to, and so we used their listings. We kind of gave it an evaluation ourselves, and then we compared it to grades that we kind of thought within the range, and then we kind of honed it down, and then from there got a price. So the first book, you want to show them?
You can lead them off. Go ahead.
All right, is Avengers 9. This is the first time that the Avengers and X-Men crossover in this title. We thought this was about a 2.5. When I first was evaluating this book, there was pieces of tape up top, and they were probably to protect, from Marvel chipping. But what was great was that tape just flaked right off. It had no attachment to the book. So we're thinking about a 2.5, and we valued this book using Go Collect at about $150.
So next book on the list here is we've got Strange Tales 101. This is the first Human Torch in the title, and I think first Silver Age appearance of the Human Torch.
First appearance of Human Torch solo story outside of the Golden Age.
There we go. So again, this was another one we graded at a 2.5. You can see it's got creasing here up towards the top with the color break. It's got just some rough spine issues here, but overall I think it presents really well, but really probably about a 2.5, and again, using Go Collect, we valued this one at $150.
What a great book anyways. Yeah, that thing's super nice.
I've always loved the Strange Tales books.
All right, the next book up is Journey into Mystery 103. I think we showed this in our kind of teaser preview video for the collection. This is the first appearance of Enchantress and Executioner, I believe.
Yep.
There's something with this as maybe Enchantress is going to be a villain in...
I think the Loki series, maybe?
Loki series, okay. Yeah, so Key Collector has it as a book to look out for, I think.
And this was one that we showed it in the preview because we didn't think it was going to make it because we had Avengers 2. And when we kicked Avengers 2 out, this one moved up the list from a condition and value standpoint. So that's just how that goes.
Yeah, any Journey into Mystery reminds me of like Very Gary on YouTube. He likes the Journey into Mystery run. He's going for this run. Also buying collections. That's one of his things that he does. Yeah, like we said, 2.5 in this on this book as far as condition wise, and valuing it at about $150.
So next up, we've got probably a pretty hot book based on some of the releases on Marvel coming up, and that is Marvel Special Edition 15. That is the first appearance of Shang-Chi, the Master of Kung Fu. This one we graded a 5.0. It presents really well. You've got some spine ticks over here that you can see, some color breaks there, but I mean overall it looks pretty good. We were pretty harsh on the books, not harsh, but we were pretty strict on them. But very nice presenting, very cool book to have. I know I don't have one of these.
I don't either. No, I got rid of mine at one point. I got rid of mine way before it got hot, so big mistake.
So we're going to fight over this one too.
Yeah.
But this one we valued at $250. So really excited to have the opportunity at that one.
Okay, the next one up is another one that we both kind of have our eye on, and this is Daredevil #2. This is the second appearance of Electro, and it's a really hot book right now because of that Electro potential. Jamie Foxx coming back and reprising the role in one of the upcoming Spider-Man movies, Spider-Man 3 for the MCU. So really excited about this book, and it's the second appearance of Daredevil, so that's really cool. We thought this was about a 4.5, and I think that's a great grade. We were probably a little harsh on this one as well. This really does appear in that solid mid-grade 5.0, but we valued this one at $250.
So next up, we've got, I think a lot of people are a fan of the early X-Men stuff, and we've got X-Men 14. This is first appearance of the Sentinels. This one we graded a 4.0. Again, kind of similar issues, color breaks on the spine ticks. We've got, I think, a crease maybe right down here. We graded it a 4.0. It wouldn't necessarily stun me if it came back at a 4.5, but... Yeah. Again, $250 on this one. Just love the early X-Men stuff, and with them being able to be a part of the MCU, that's pretty exciting.
All right, this next book is another book that both of us really, really like, and honestly, at a 6.0, I think we undergraded it.
Yeah.
I think we were really harsh on this, but there's a lot of variance and there's a lot of things that maybe we wouldn't consider as being such a harsh, or maybe CGC wouldn't consider it as such a harsh defect. This is Captain America 100, the big premiere issue. I think a pressing and cleaning could probably bring this up quite a bit, maybe to a 7.0 at the max.
This is awesome.
Yeah, this is a great book. It could use, like I said, a pressing and a cleaning, but at the 6.0 that we thought it was, being very, very kind of rough on it, grading really conservative on this, that's about a $250 book, and I think we both like it. I think we both really appreciate it, and right now, we both own this equally.
Mm-hmm.
So
the black cover, for it to look as sharp as it does, just awesome, especially given the age and the fact that we just found it in a collection. So pretty excited that one's in there. So this next one is one that is it's a great lesson in examining books really thoroughly when you have the chance, if you're looking at a collection. Now this one was so large, we were kind of limited on time, so we had to kind of give it really quick once-overs. But so what we've got here is Silver Surfer #1. Silver Surfer was always one of my favorite characters ever since he was first introduced in Fantastic Four, and I would be really excited to see what they would do with him in MCU movies and if they're going to introduce him in that fashion. But so when we first looked at this book, when we got it, you know, we were thinking maybe this was going to be a 4 or 5. Maybe this was going to be a 5. Started looking through it. It's got a big chunk missing out of the back cover. It's a lot, well, I don't want to say a lot. It's rougher than we thought it was going to be. So we actually looked at this one and graded it as a 2.0. Could there be some room to move up in that? Possibly, depending on who's looking at it at CGC that day. But even given 2.0 value, we assessed it at $350 for this. So #1 issue, Silver Surfer. Love this book. If it wasn't for the back cover, have a higher grade, but still really excited it's in here.
Yeah, the golden guys on the Comic Core channel just showed a Wonder Woman that's on the Comic Link auction that we talked about. Wonder Woman #1.
Yeah.
The front of the cover looked fantastic. It was actually graded a 3.0, but there was a chunk missing out of one of the top corners. And so with that being said, you know, defects on the back cover, if that were on the front, is going to be a 1.8, a 1.5, maybe at the max. But being on the back cover, it's less severe of a defect in the eyes of CGC and in the eyes of collectors too. So this could potentially be a 3.0 maybe even, but conservatively we graded at the 2.0 range.
This next one, I guess, the funny story about this is I had gotten to the guy's house to look at the collection first, and the first box I opened, I'm flipping through books, and I found this one. No bag, no board. It was raw, and I took the pile and I set it down, and with that one right on top because I knew what it was. And Alex walks up and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I looked at some stuff," and I pointed to it, and he kind of looked at me, and goes, "Okay," and we just started looking through the rest of the stuff. So it was cool that was the first one in like the first pile I grabbed out of here. So
this is Marvel Spotlight number 5, the first appearance of Ghost Rider. Now, if you look at this book, this is very, very nice. It's much better than the copy that I have. It does have this one little chunk out right here. So I'm not sure how severe that is, but without that chunk, this is like a 7.5, 8.0 copy. With that chunk, I'm thinking about a 6.0, 6.5 range, but even at that grade, this is an $830 book. This is definitely one that we consider, whoever's collection it ends up in, getting this graded. This is definitely a treat. It's a nice book, and top edge is great. Sides are really nice. There's a little bit of color breaking crease right here along the side, but it doesn't really detract from the cover at all.
For it to look this good, and it was found in a plastic tub with no bag, no board, I just really feel fortunate that it's as good as it is.
It's pretty remarkable,
Yeah.
that it looks in the way that it does.
That one's awesome. This next one, do you have this one?
I do, yeah. I've got a restored copy, 2.5.
So Alex has this one. I don't have this one. We actually missed it.
We had no idea. We had no idea that it was in here.
When we were looking through the collection when we were at the guy's house, we're flipping through all the books, and there were some of the bags that were kind of stuck together that we were pulling apart. So we get it back here, and we're starting to sort through this stuff, and Alex goes, "I don't remember what you said." It was like, "Oh my God." And he looked over, and this was the book that he pulled up that we didn't even know was in the collection when we bought it. Avengers 1.
It's so cool.
I mean, it's Avengers 1, and we didn't even know it was there, and we bought it. So this was just kind of the icing on the cake for this whole collection, with the stuff that we already knew was in there, and then to come back and find this, it's a rough copy. It really is. We graded this one at a 1.8, but this is one of those books that I don't think anybody would care if they had Avengers 1 in a 1.8 in their collection, right? So this one in a 1.8, we valued it at $1,500. We've all seen what's been going on with the Avengers over the last decade or however many years in the MCU.
10 years.
So many cool movies, and it'll be interesting to see what they do with it kind of going forward. But this one was exciting. This one was really exciting, and couldn't be happier that this was here, and we missed it.
Yeah, we absolutely freaked out, geeked out. It was incredible. And the number 1 book in the collection was one of those ones where we were flipping through books, and I had a pile of books, and I said, "Hey, Daredevil." And we found a Daredevil number 1. Really nice, solid copy of this book. This is one of Tim's favorite books in the world, honestly. This is one that you're pouring a lot of your collecting into.
6 copies.
6 copies of Daredevil number 1. And this is, to me, the most affordable. I think this was 1964 or 1965.
I think it was 64.
64. It came out like very soon after like the X-Men, 63 X-Men and stuff like that. This is such a great book. First appearance of Daredevil. Very, very undervalued until just recently when they talked about Matt Murdock maybe appearing as the lawyer in the new Spider-Man movie. So Charlie Cox maybe even reprising his role as Daredevil. But we found this one, and we knew that we really wanted to go for the collection.
Yep.
There was a lot of great Silver Age and Bronze Age books in this collection, but finding this, we knew that this was a collection we were going to go for. And this is about a 3.0. There are some creases along the book. There's a big crease right here and a couple creases up there, but really ultimately this is a very solid copy. And so it could be a 2.5, but I'm really confident that this is about a 3.0. And very specifically, I priced it out at $2,227 in the 3.0 condition.
Yeah, Daredevil's always been just one of those favorite characters of mine through all the comic books that my dad had when I was a kid, and just to find one of those in there, along with all the other stuff that we got out of it, is pretty remarkable. So couldn't be happier with this.
Yeah, and there's, like I said, there's a short box of books that we had and a nice pile of other keys. We're going to be showing these things, and these are not things to scoff at either. Pull out a few of those things to look at, because we'll be looking at these in a future video we'll probably be
Yeah.
looking at those very
Show that
soon.
one.
Yeah, this is kind of neat.
We didn't even know we had it.
We didn't even know we had this. I didn't even know what this was. The cover looked familiar, but this is the first appearance of Cherry Pop-Tart. It's kind of like the satire of the Betty and Veronica, Cheryl Blossom type books. So we're very excited about owning this or being able to find it. I don't think it goes for maybe $60 to $80 in this
Right.
condition, but that's awesome.
Yeah. Again, just a couple of these other books that we've got. We've got Black Panther #1.
We'll go much more in depth in these
Yeah,
ones.
we'll
in
show
the next
we'll
video.
show some more of that here. And then I think we had alluded to this in the previous video. We got 2 copies of Daredevil #7,
Yeah.
first red costume.
And that's nothing to scoff at. That book is incredible. And to find 2 copies, because when we found one, I was like, oh dang, I really want that one.
And that copy's actually pretty nice.
The reds on that one pop.
Yeah.
Really, really nice.
And then this is one I've been hunting for a while, and we found 2 of these as well. Avengers 57.
And how
Right?
timely in just 2 days.
Yep. So
WandaVision comes out.
just again, tons of other really cool books, cool keys that we found, and this is just the top 10. So there's a lot of stuff here.
One thing I did want to talk about in this video, just to end it out, was how we came on the price that we paid for this. I don't know if we're going to share the price of what we paid for it just yet, but how we came to the price of this. He had a price in mind. It wasn't listed. It was $1 million on the listing.
Yeah.
Tim and I were talking the day that we looked at it, and he was like, hey, you have an appointment to go see this guy? And I was like, yeah, at some point, we haven't nailed down a time. He was like, I've got an appointment, but we haven't had a time. And he's like, we're trying to figure out when each other was going to go individually look at this collection. And we're like, let's just go together. Let's go halves on this thing.
Yeah.
I had no idea the vastness of this collection, but I'm so glad we did
Well,
go.
because you thought it was one tub.
I thought it was one tub of
Yeah.
10 and 12 cent comics.
He thought it was one tub. I knew it was more than that just because he had worded it funny when he had listed it. But when I showed up and I saw just how many, I went, oh, that's quite a few. And then Alex walked up and he sees all the tubs on the ground and I'm kind of rifling through them and his face kind of.
Oh, Marvel Spotlight 5. Let's go. Let's go. So when we went to the negotiation, it was a little awkward because he wouldn't give us a price. We asked for a price immediately. Like,
Yeah.
what do you want for everything? We'll take it all. And that was one of the stipulations. You can't part it out. You have to take everything. So it's one price for everything. So we wanted him to say his number first. And he wouldn't say anything. He said, you guys talk about it and throw me out an offer. That puts us in a really awkward situation.
The guy wasn't a dummy. He had been dealing in auctions and antiques, and he had this garage that he had a lot of really cool old stuff in for a long time. So I knew he wasn't just going to give it away, but he didn't make it easy on us.
And he definitely had his wherewithal about him. He looked stuff up. He knew what a couple of the big books were worth and whatnot. But he was also realistic, too. He knew he wasn't going to get $1 million. He knew he wasn't going to get $10,000 for the collection. So I said, are we talking four digits, or are we talking 5 digits here? And so he said, definitely 4. So I knew we were under 10 grand. And so and then I said, are we talking 1,000 or are we talking 3,000? I wanted to kind of narrow it down to the bottom half of that 4-digit range there. And he said, you're going to need to come up a little bit. So I was like, okay. What did we initially offered him? 3 grand, 1,500 a piece, right?
I think so. You and I had originally talked about 2, and then he'd given us what
He
was
immediately
looking
said
for.
no to the 2. Like,
Yeah.
nope, can't do that. You guys are going to need to come up. And
Came up
so-
to 3, and then just it was kind of it was a negotiation from there. The all or nothing piece. There's some stuff in here that neither Alex nor I collect, nor have any interest in
No.
ever searching for.
No, not at all.
And I don't know. Maybe we'll talk about that stuff later. But
But I'm finding stuff too. A lot of retailer review copies. Some stuff that's like printed off on printer paper and then signed or like labeled as like page number 1. And these things were like given specifically to retailers. So there's lots of like comic book shop from like the early 90s, which is really neat. And some of it has some significant value. The majority of it is, of course, the comic books from the 60s and 70s. But there's some really interesting stuff in there. I even found, I haven't told you this yet, but I was just looking through one of the random boxes and found a Police Quest 2 video game from the 80s.
oh, I saw
It's
that
valued at like $75, like
Yeah.
sold listing just a couple days ago.
one. Yeah.
So pretty interesting stuff. There's lots of Frank Frazetta like covers and artwork. There's some
You found
more
the animation cell of Iron Man from looked like one of the cartoons. That was kind of neat.
animation cell, which was really neat. Some adult or mature themed underground comics, as we have over there. Actually, let's show those real quick, and then we'll end the video on this. Tim had put together kind of like an underground section, and he started to like, hey, these are kind of neat, and like Jesus becomes a banker, like comic, or Jesus joins a gang, or just weird underground stuff. And I was like, okay, wait a second. And then he pulled out one of these books, and it was Air Pirates Funnies, and I think this is the second one in that collection. So Air Pirates Funnies with the Mickey Mouse. And then I knew it was in there somewhere, so I searched and searched and searched, and sure enough, found it, Air Pirates Funnies, and this is number 1. And this is, of course, the band. It's got Mickey Mouse with a plane, and he's got some dope on the back. We found a bunch of stuff like this, and some of it commands a significant amount of money, but it's like we don't deal in this stuff. We don't deal in underground or mature comics.
True.
And so there's like a tub or two over there with like really high dollar mature stuff that we just have no interest in. So I'm not going to get into that now. We're not
going to show that.
Yeah, we're not going to show. We're not advocating like, reach out to us on DMs if you would like a whole stack of adult magazines.
To Alex's credit, he recognized the Air Pirates Funnies because I looked at it and was like, oh, it's Mickey Mouse, and that was it.
I did. I would honestly take credit for the resurgence in that book. I know it was showed like several years ago, maybe 5-6 years ago on YouTube, and then Doom and I showed it in separate videos, and I feel like the book just kind of took off again, and now it's kind of back down to that, like nobody talks about it anymore. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this one, hit that like button, comment down below what you think of the collection so far. We might put down a little bit of number here, like what these are all valued at what we have, and then in the next couple videos we'll do some more of like those keys, a box of keys, and we'll show some of the runs and stuff that we have, because there's more keys in the runs too. There's like the first Polaris, or that Steranko covered, the really cool X-Men 50. That's over there as well, just in the run. So we've got plenty of stuff to show. Make sure you hit that bell if you'd like to be notified when these videos come out, because I want to do release quicker. I want these videos to come out quick so you guys don't have to wait on the next one. So
good to see you all.
Said, yeah, we'll talk to you all on the next one. See ya. Bye.